started, would love you guys to introduce yourselves, your roles at Oak Park. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Brendan Callahan, Director of Bond Programs, Sustainability, Maintenance and Operations at Oak Park Unified.
And I'm Jay Greenlinger. I'm the Director of Curriculum and Instruction for Oak Park Unified. And we're at the site of construction site for 6 new classrooms that are made out of recycled shipping containers. So these are shipping containers that came over probably from China carrying goods, and then the cost of sending those containers back is prohibitive. So they just kind of sit around in the Port of Los Angeles, and the company we're working with fashions them into classrooms.
Wonderful. And what is if you're kind of thinking about, inspired you around creating that, what was the vision to start this process?
So these classrooms definitely are part of our vision for being a green school system. And as Jay had mentioned, they're from recycled sea containers. Just behind us off to the side, we can maybe get a shot of it. These are built-in solar panels as well that span the length of this blacktop. And we have these at each of our sites. They provide electricity to offset the electricity used by the school. And in most cases, they actually allow us to reach 80% of our usage.
How is this project an important response to conventional education approaches?
Yeah, so on the facility side, this is just a really fun opportunity, quite frankly, rather than just getting some, kind of more over the shelf, like portable classrooms or stick-built building that you'd be used to, is thinking about how we can embrace sustainability into the design. And then, thinking more about how, and Jay can go more into this, how we can create opportunities for the kids to go outdoors. And so the way that these classrooms are configured, we're looking at the back of them. We're standing on dirt that will be landscaped with drought-resistant plants, drip system irrigation. On the back side of these buildings, there's another row of containers that face in towards a courtyard that will be hardscaped. We'll have trees, shade sails, and outdoor furniture, creating more learning environments for the kids to go outside.
Finding ways to mimic natural settings. The easiest way, and because we're in Southern California, the easiest way to do that is to increase the amount of natural light. And then what we've really been trying to do is to blur the line between inside the classroom and outside the classroom. Glass sliding doors so that classrooms can have a lot of access to the outside. And then this section behind me that you can see there grading right now is going to be a courtyard with outdoor seating, shading, and basically to extend the classroom into this shared area. And so that kind of reflects, like I said, our desire to get kids outside to enjoy nature. And then also in the design of these classrooms is we wanted to blur the line between classrooms as well. So in a typical classroom setting, when classrooms are set in a row, they are distinct places. And so by allowing folks to open up doors and have students working together on the outside, we've created one large classroom that's a shared environment.
A true integrated approach to indoor and outdoor learning as one flow through space. So it's not either in or out, it's the whole continuity of those spaces together.
I think there's a lot of overlap between what you're trying to do, to improve your learning spaces and be green, but also some of the things might be helpful in response to the current challenges we're facing with the pandemic. Can you guys speak a little bit to some of the features that help you in this situation?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, first and foremost, the ability to be outside as much as possible. One is just it's good for our souls, but also as we think about returning to school in the context of the need for social distancing and for reducing the spread of a virus, being outside is the best thing. So if we can open up the sliding doors and have students inside and outside, that is going to help us return to school.
And I think we found great partners in Natural Pod and being able to find a furniture solution for these classrooms. So in working with Natural Pod, we've found the ability to come at this in a really flexible way where the furniture can be moved all across the classroom. And I think part of the part of this that I've really enjoyed is being able to visualize the way a classroom can be laid out before we make those decisions about what goes in. And I know for our teachers and our principal here, it's really working through that and taking something that's very obscure that many people are not used to, being able to look in and see, a mock-up of how that can be laid out with furniture. And that's been extremely helpful in order to give a lot of confidence to the teachers moving into these classrooms.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And I love that you're sharing that feedback with us. And I think, to further extend on that, how do you feel that collaboration has really helped you to support your goals for the overall project?
It's really important for us that when we're spending bond money, which is, a long-term investment in the community, is we want the things we purchase to also be long-lasting. So, for instance, the buildings themselves made out of steel, reinforced steel, are going to last probably longer than anyone watching this will be alive. And so we want the things inside of it to also last that long, so that we're not saying, we don't want to be able to say, oh, well, we've got these sustainable buildings, but inside we buy a bunch of plastic furniture that we replace every 3 years. That's not helping us reach our goals of sustainability. And so there's no one way to look at the way you furnish a classroom. It has to reflect your values. It has to reflect your desire to spend wisely. And then it has to work with the instructional program, and having furniture that can be flexible, that can be moved around, that has biophilic properties, are all the things that are good for kids and good for our school system.
So it's been very helpful just to be able to share, hey, here's a hurdle, here's a challenge, here are the storage needs, and then to be able to have that back and forth. And to share a budget with you, and then to have you guys be able to come through and meet that, makes my job very easy. And I think it gets people excited about moving into the classrooms when they know that their needs will be met.
It's really a true collaborative process. And for us, having the instructional team involved in that process, the end users, and of course, therefore, the children that we're going to be serving in the future, is a really important part to share and to, of course, get their feedback and their input. And you did a great job of including them. And we want to see more of that actually out there. And we hope that in sharing the story of Oak Park and the different levels of how you've integrated sustainability, your curriculum, your instructional team, and feedback all around, how you can really have a really unique approach to how learning could look.
Making sure that we start with the notion that we're creating learning spaces, not buildings. And then that the people who will be using those buildings have been engaged in this process the whole time. We had students at the middle school re-envisioning the common spaces in their classroom and getting the students to really think through what would a school look like now if you were able to design it. And so I think as we envision other projects in the future, particularly our elementary schools, making sure that we start with the kids in mind and keep them at the center of everything that we do. One of the things that we've been talking about for the last few years is making the campus itself a classroom, that the campus is a classroom. So the solar panels under which we stand are a classroom. The native bee garden that a student planted this summer, kind of adjacent to this construction zone, is a classroom. Our cafeteria is a classroom. And so we operate under the assumption that students have to learn from every part of the school, not just from the teachers inside the classrooms. And so that approach, as Brendan was talking about, allows us to really get creative and to give ownership to the campus back to the kids.
I love that. I love that every part of the school is a learning environment. Every part is a learning space. And how you look at that is not by the four walls. Is by the opportunity that is there, and how do you open that up? And that, I think, in turn, in the future, is going to have more critical, creative thinkers. That it's going to come from our young learners that you're supporting. So thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Well, thanks for having us.